Oh, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, outsiders of all ages, the Texas Longhorns are 0-1 on the season after losing to Ohio State. We're going to break it all down. Chance is here. Bo is here. Jason Dick not with us again. Jason, get to feeling better soon. We are the Outsiders, brought to you by Poncho Outdoors. We've got a code for you now. Put in ponchooutdoors.com/outsiders for $10 off your first order. Look for that natty-backed football if your team wins a national championship after you buy the shirt. As long as you buy it by October 1st, you're going to get a refund. We'll show you those again in a little bit and show you some other options. 10 total teams, if you believe in them. Some of them actually, there's some teams on the list that got wins. Obviously, teams like Texas that did not. We'll give you the full list coming up in a little bit. All right, gentlemen, let's dig into 14-7 Ohio State. Low-scoring game, Chance, no doubt about it. Let me start with you. Your first thought on this game now that you've had a little bit of time to process.
Well, I want to start with the positives. The first thing is I thought the offensive line played outstanding compared to what I thought they were going to do. I thought the line was significantly better, and I thought that the wide receivers were significantly not as good, not able to create any kind of separation. I think we need to address the elephant in the room. I thought Arch was really bad. He wasn't okay. He was bad. And it started with the first pass of the day. And we'll get into that more depth. The other positive I took out of it, well, there's two more positives. Number one, we got the best punter in the country. And he is going to be incredibly valuable as we go through this stretch of SEC games. But number two, and this is an interesting one for me, we held Ohio State to 203 yards of offense. I say they held. I'm not on the team. They held Ohio State to 203 yards of offense. They gave them a touchdown with two penalties that extended drive into the end zone. Then you had an incredible catch that was one of those I kind of went, oh, it's just their day. When you make catches like that, it's just their day.
Yeah.
But the cool thing to me was we held them to 203 yards of offense, and we never called Ant Hill or Colin Simmons' name. Colin Simmons had one hit on a quarterback where he got the ball out of his hand and he got hit. He cut him in half. But other than that, those two guys were non-factors, and that defense was still able to really put up a hell of a fight and keep us in the game. I tweeted at one point during the game, I said, we got an opportunity here. Let's see if the defense can give the ball back. And they did. And so I walk away from this going, okay, Arch played really bad. I never thought the game would be too big for him. It was fast. He was tight. Two things happen whenever you're tight and you're trying to force things. You spike balls and you sail balls. He did both of those things. His footwork was absolutely atrocious. I know both of his uncles are sitting there going, oh, my God. He was late on reads. Early in the game, he was coming off of his progression fast, way too fast. He was coming off of his reads before those guys could really get into their routes, and that's a sign that the game was very, very fast for him. It sped up on him, and he couldn't get it back. And we'll get to it. I really, really like what Ryan Day and Hartline did with saying. His first couple of throws, they got him into the game. They got him into the game comfortable. They were one-read throws. They were quick throws, ball out of your hand, see the guy catch the ball. Let's get settled in this game. Where Texas just started out with, hey, we're going to roll out to the right. And look, he was open. And Arch he missed it in a really, really bad way. But other than that, look, that was a heavyweight fight. It was what we expected it to be. And for football lovers, take the quarterback play out of it. There was two really good defenses on that field on Saturday. And that was a lot of fun to watch. So I'm not worried about it like a lot of Texas fans. And maybe I should be, but I'm not. It was the first game. Arch had his jitters. He's going to have to wear it. And a lot of this stuff he didn't ask for. He didn't ask for all the attention. But you know what? You got it. And there's a lot of doors that were open because of that Manning name. So I don't want to hear anybody complaining or feeling sorry for Arch because the Viore and the Warby Parker and the Red Bull, those NIL deals and that money in his pocket doesn't come because if he doesn't have that last name. So you can't have it both ways, in my opinion. You got to own it. He's got to wear it, and he did. And I think he'll be fine.
We'll talk about how ours can get better moving forward. Bo, what'd you see?
I saw a recurring theme with Sark that is scary because it goes back a couple of years. Everyone thinks he's stubborn. Everyone thinks that he isn't deviate off game plan. I think it's something else. I think Sark's he's a very optimistic guy, at least from his outward behavior, at least from the way he speaks. I think he so believes in his guys. And I'm not saying all 85 on the roster, but there's a few guys that are his guys, and you know who they are in certain instances and maybe not in others. He believes in them so much, he continues to go to the well because he absolutely believes in his core, even though that play was stopped 3 times in a row. The 4th time is when my guy's going to get it exactly right, and we're in. The 5th time, it's going to happen. And he keeps doing it, not just on offense, but on offense and defense. These pivotal moments in games, we get blown up, whether it's in the short running game, whether it's a defensive stop. Like, it's just continual. It's like a mentality. And I don't know how to fix that mentality because you want him to be the guy cheering him on, but it's hurting the team.
Now, to be clear, Bo, you're saying it's not like one particular player. You're just saying he sticks with an idea so much that they end up banging their head against the wall of that idea?
Because they work on it in practice, and he's seen that play executed. So he has this overwhelming belief that if I call the play this time, my 3 interior offensive linemen are not going to get pushed back on a QB sneak. We've seen it a few times, and the names have changed. The people changed. That's not who our team is. Maybe it's who it becomes. We are not going to be the team that generates a lot of push in the middle. So if you want to go for it on 4th and inches, 4th and 1, 4th and 2, then you better have a better way of doing it than halfback dive and QB draw or tush push or whatever. You're supposed to be an offensive mastermind, and yet you keep repeating the same mistake over and over and over again. So I don't think it's stubbornness. I think he truly believes it. It's like a pathological liar that believes the lie he's telling. I think he's like, yep, we're running that play. It's going to work.
Well, Chance, here's what it reminded me of. And, Bo, I had in a way that thought during the game. Chance, you know this one because it goes back to the guy that coached you at Texas. I always felt like Mac Brown sometimes would get lost in we've just got to go back to work. And he would say it, and then he would say it again, and then he would say it again. And I just kept thinking, okay, but you also have to fix the issue. You have to deal. I get you've got to go back to work. But to what Bo's discussing, it is this notion of the play is always the right play. We just have to execute better. I feel like that's Sark's answer to every one of these red zone problems.
Well, I think it's not just the red zone. I think it's also in his actual play calling, because when I watched the way that they, first of all, give Matt Patricia hats off. I mean, the dude's got 3 Super Bowls. He's freaking good. Okay. And
Chance, we didn't talk about it enough last week. I'm going to keep saying it. We did not talk about it enough.
No, we didn't.
I agree with you. He crawled inside Sark's head and Arch's head, and he built a summer home over 4 quarters.
He absolutely did. I think he was phenomenal. He was absolutely phenomenal. That being said, I think you're both hitting it on the head exceptionally well. And this is where I'm a little bit on the nervous side. I went on a show at halftime, and I said, look, Sark's he's doing what Sark's doing. He's jabbing in the first half, and he's going to make adjustments, and we're going to come out in the second half, and he's going to do great. And, of course, I look like an idiot because he didn't. And this is the problem. I watched those defensive backs cover our receivers, and it was like they knew what every route combination was going to be. And I think that we're starting to see a pattern that Sark has an offense he likes, an offense he believes in. He's seen it work at practice. He's watched his guys execute it, like Bo said, and he believes in it. Well, I think people are starting to get the book on what his route combinations are. He either wants to stretch you vertically or horizontally, which every coach does, but the combinations are all the same. It was like their defensive backs knew what we were running before we did. Well, they were there the entire time. And part of that is Patricia. part of that is the fact that we played them, 9 months ago?
Yeah, true. That's true too.
Well, and
Good
this
point.
is a concept, Chad, I know you've brought up before, and Chance, I think you as well, but sometimes Sark gets too smart for his own good. He goes so far to being the contrarian so that the guy on the other side that he's playing chess with, we've seen the screen game work for Texas for 2 years. And why didn't we try one screen pass? When Arch is getting attacked, why didn't we have Baxter run the wheel? I know maybe one, but we didn't use that part of it. We didn't use the tight end screen game that we used to use with Gunnar Helm. It's like he forgot, it's like the same play script he had for the entire first half. Be contrarian and throw on first down, but then be conservative and run it left or right off center's butt every single time. I think I counted 4. It may have been 5 2nd and 10s where the play call was an inside run to the left or to the right. You can't succeed in that scenario, and it was readily apparent you weren't going to get the push in the middle to get a huge hole that was going to break an 8-10 yard first down type run. Why didn't you try to exploit the edges? Why didn't you try to get Arch rolling to the edges with people going? These are things Sark knows. It's like he went into a shell. He did the same thing against Georgia. I think it's a apt criticism that Sark coaches scared in these big moments. That's why I'm wearing my hat until he proves me wrong. That just says all breaks, because if you need to see it, it's a new last stand that hasn't been made yet, but it's coming.
Rude. That's what that is.
But that's what the offense is. And when it's nut cutting time, Texas isn't all gas, no brakes. It's false bravado. Texas is all gas, no brakes against San Jose State. They're all gas, no brakes against UTEP. They're all gas, no brakes against Mississippi State. But they're all gas, no brakes last year when Florida came here without Lagway and without Mertz. And all they had was some dude that shouldn't have been on a college football field because he wasn't ready. Then Sark was dialing up all kinds of eye candy and motions and pitch back plays. The creative genius, the most creative thing he did the entire time was tush push Arch on 4th down. Like, that shows how uncreative the other plays were.
And honestly, have y'all ever seen, and this is not a criticism of Sark, or this is just a statement of fact. Have you ever seen a quarterback sneak stuffed as bad as that was? Like, he could not even go. He didn't move forward an inch. I think he lost yardage.
It was rough. And Sark admitted basically it was a panic when he talked to the media. He admitted he panicked because he wanted to do it before before Ohio State could switch. So he didn't go jumbo, but he wanted to prevent them from going jumbo. And it just was rushed.
But they had 4 guys pinching the A gap, essentially. And when I saw them, and we were in a 2-by-1 set, 2 receivers on the right, 1 on the left, all in the bunch, 1 back. And I was like, oh my God, please don't do the tush push, please, because we had them flanked outside. Why? Right there, to me, if Sark trusts what he knows, if he trusts Arch, you do a play action, roll to the right, give Arch a 2-way go. Let those 2 guys do what Sark loves to do, which is create levels, put 1 right at the line and 1 at the back, and either you've got leverage at that point. Well, if you get outside and either hit your guy or let Arch put his head down and try to get that.
Well, if you watch the Notre Dame game last night, the second score for Notre Dame, similar scenario. They're not getting the push to run the ball against a Miami front that played pretty dang well in that game. They run a play action boot with CJ Carr where he had 2 ways to go at it. He had a running lane and he had a tight end that veered out with him. He had one-on-one with the DB that chose to come on him, and he literally it wasn't even he just kind of like there was nobody within 5 yards. You have injuries, it's going well, and you have an athlete in Arch. If you do boot him and they cover the play correctly, then there has to be a running lane where Arch can get a yard or 2 with his athleticism. It's like he never went to that well, and it doesn't make sense. Like, he's supposed to be like, and I agree. I like Sark a lot, but it's like he goes into a shell when it's games that matter.
All right, we're going to get back to Sark with the Mock 5 Top 5. Chance has got some ideas for Sark to drill in on over the next few weeks as Texas tries to get better. I do have a question for Chance about Arch. I want to talk a little bit about Arch. Let's have a grown-up conversation about him after we say thank you to one of our great sponsors, and that is the good folks at Covert Ford. We'll start with Kimberly here.
Hi, I'm Kimberly Covert, and since 1909, the Covert family has been committed to Austin's community. For 116 years, we've grown with Texas, driving progress, building trust, and serving the Austin community. Whether it's the all-new 2025 F-150 or the versatile 2025 Ford Maverick, we're here to help you find the perfect fit, just like we've done for generations. At Covert Ford, it's more than cars. It's about family, service, and a legacy of trust. Visit covertford.com and become part of our story.
Covert Ford right there on 183. Go in, see outsider Chris Abbott right there on the showroom floor with Kenny Covert. I can't give a more glowing endorsement for Covert than this. My mom needs a new vehicle. The AC went out on her vehicle. She called me and asked where she should go. And I said, first thing you should do, go to the Covert Ford website. You can go there right there on that QR code, find the car you want, then give Chris a call, and everything will be taken care of. She's getting a new car next week, exactly the car she wants at the price she wants. No crap. Like Covert Ford, I've bought many vehicles there. My family's bought many vehicles there. If you can't send your mom to your car dealer, they're not the right car dealer. I can send mine to Covert Ford.
Thanks to Covert Ford for being one of our great partners. All right, Chance, when we're talking about Arch, the thing that surprised me more than anything else in this game was the bad mechanics. I felt like I saw him enough last year that I knew what his mechanics looked like. I'm not saying he was ever in super distress last year. I just thought I knew what it looked like. From a quarterback perspective, did you see anything against Ohio State that you thought was like beyond the pale, that was like, what the heck am I watching? Like I'm watching, ignorant-eyed me is watching thinking, wait, is he hurt? Is his left arm? What's going on? And I know that, I mean, the body's going this way and the arm's going that. What did you see in terms of the mechanics? Do we just chalk this up to Patricia got in his head and we'll move forward?
I think you have to. It's hard for me to believe that a Manning that has spent the last 8 years going to the Manning Passing Academy, that has worked with Archie, that obviously, Cooper, say what you want about him, he knows the game as well as anybody. He's got his uncles. I think his mechanics went to shit. Excuse my language. I apologize, but they did. His footwork was absolutely horrendous. And the one that's the worst, and I know we've all seen it, it's the Uncle Rico throw that Wingo had nothing but room in front of him to run. And all he had to do was put his foot in the ground and deliver a nice ball. Wasn't a hard throw. It was an 8-yard throw. And he throws it from down here, but It's because his feet are open. He's got no leverage, nothing. And there was a point, I'm telling y'all.
And that's the pick. Just to clarify, Chance, you're talking about the pick? That's the interception?
No. The one
where if he hits Wingo in the hands, he goes 25 yards. And
the one that's behind Wingo.
Yes.
Yes, gotcha. Okay.
Yes. Sorry. And that one, there was a point in the game, and I'm only saying this because we're having the conversation, but there was a point in the game I was like, is Arch hurt? Is there something wrong with him? Because that didn't look like Arch Manning. Mm-hmm. Not the mechanics we've seen. And Patricia can be in his head and everything else, but your footwork doesn't go that bad. It doesn't. And he delivered a ball. I mean, he delivered 2 balls that were NFL-type throws into cover 2 holes that were beautiful. Mm-hmm. But then he had these other ones, and you're going, what in the hell? Like, what are we doing?
Right. Okay. And I'm glad to hear you say it, because I thought I was going too far thinking that while I'm watching it. I'm like, this doesn't look like him at all.
No, and here's where I have an issue. Normally, when a quarterback is struggling, the thing that they can rely on is their mechanics. It goes back to what they've done a million times, right? Mm-hmm. Like you revert back to default settings, right? And he didn't. He went into something that he's not. And that tells me, number one, the game was incredibly fast to him. He was seeing ghost. He really was. And he was seeing things that weren't there. I mean, look, the long throw, while I think it was probably some form of pass interference on Wingo, it was a ball that should have never been thrown. It's never been thrown. There was no reason for him to throw that deep ball. None. Into double coverage. And it was underthrown. And then The interception, he was so late on that ball. He stepped away from it, put no arm into it. His hips were open. There was no drive to it. He just kind of flicked it out there, and he throws the ball 7 yards short, and he was literally two steps late. That ball should have been out of his hand as soon as he came out of his break, and he didn't.
Yeah, it seemed like there was a lot of hesitation throughout. Bo, anything else on Arch before we move back to Sark?
Well, I think to piggyback the point, and this kind of parallels with what I was talking about with Sark and the absolute trust in certain guys. I think the first throw that skipped was when he got the ghosts, because he had planned for 9 months and he had Sark telling him, this is what they're going to do. Yeah. This is what you're looking for. And he gets up there and he makes his pre-snap read. I don't think the ball slipped out of his hands. I think he damn near spiked it because he saw something that he saw the boogeyman, because he was so self-assured. Here we go. It's going to be this, I'm going right there. And he takes 2 steps and he sees 2 guys go the opposite direction. And he just goes, and just get rid of it. I don't want it to throw a mistake. And I think that thought process carried with him all the way until right at the end, the throw to Endries, there were a couple throws on that last drive, the throw to Livingstone for the touchdown. He just started playing football. He's down 2 scores. Oh, crap, we're losing. Give me the ball, guys. I'm going to go try to make some magic happen. And he was just playing football. Now, then there was the throw that we've talked about on 3rd and 5. I think that was 100% mechanics. I don't think he was mentally rattled. I think he got happy feet. He then didn't have his feet set. He knew where he wanted it to go, and he kind of he just wanted to get the ball out there somewhere.
Yeah,
and it didn't work.
And another one, I think it was Wingo as well on this one. Chance, tell me if I'm wrong. One of those red zone moments where I think it's Wingo on a crosser, the one where he just kind of hits him in the knee on a 3rd down. It was a 2nd or 3rd down play, I think.
There's a possibility he scores there.
Just a disappointing throw. And I know the disappointment of Wingo is a part of this game. Like he didn't feel impactful. I would argue, like, did Sark go into this game believing Wingo was a big weapon or not? Because I was confused. But there were moments for Wingo where especially those 2 we just talked about, if his quarterback just gives him a basic throw, number 1 gets a chance to be a stud in both situations.
Well, he does, but here's the other thing, though. Even though Jeremiah Smith had the drops early, they had plays drawn up to get and Matt Patricia, I know he's on the defensive side of the ball, but he's been in the NFL. The NFL, you pay guys money, and so guess what you do? You scheme to get those guys the ball. You're not paying them money for nothing.
Yeah.
They're getting – and they schemed the ball to Jeremiah Smith. You know what Texas didn't do? We didn't scheme the ball to Ryan Wingo. We didn't give him a chance to get the ball and go make a play. Throw him the screens. Let his big body, let him go be that guy. Throw him. We did one. How fast did he look on the one reverse we actually ran?
Right.
Like
it took him 22 minutes of game time to get him the ball, Bo.
Well, and here's the thing. Jeremiah Smith did drop a couple passes, but that didn't change the game plan. It was obvious. Jeremiah Smith did not have this huge stat line. Credit to Littleton, and by the way, credit to Manny Muhammad, who may have had a couple coverage lapses, but he's covering Jeremiah Smith man ISO half the time, and he didn't get burned. I'm not saying he didn't give up plays, and I'm not saying he was perfect.
You got to ask yourself the wisdom in that in and of itself, by the way.
But it worked. So my point is, the onus is also on Wingo too. You want to be a number 1. Go get open. Like, there were numerous times where there were pretty much one read routes to Wingo on 1st down. It was obvious, including the one that was the deep ball that should have never been thrown. Part of the reason I think it went to Wingo is because that's the only player that they thought they were going to throw it to. Like, Arch was already dead set from the moment that they called the play. He was going to play action, throw it deep to Wingo. If there were 6 guys there, he was going to try to throw it there. Well, Wingo, even if Arch threw there is no perfect ball because he wasn't open. Like, he didn't get any separation from even the one corner. Forget the bracketed safety.
All right, let's jump back into this Sark conversation, and we'll get towards the Mach 5 top 5. I think that'll help us broaden out the conversation even more. And the Mach 5 top 5 is brought to you by Integro Construction Services. Bo, tell them about Integro and what they can do for them.
Go nanotechnology. Did you get rain this weekend? If so, hope your roof protected you, because if it had Go Nano, it would have. Go Nano it can be done in one day for less than the cost of your normal insurance deductible. They spray on this coating, and I'm not trying to play chemist on the radio or YouTube, but it rejuvenates the roof. It adds 5, maybe 10 years of life to the roof. That protects the most important thing in your life, your house. Go Nano with Integral Construction Services. You can give them a call, 987-1273. That's 987-1273, or scan the handy dandy QR code right there. Integro Construction Services, the only licensed dealer of the Go Nano technology in Central Texas.
All right, it is just about that time, little Mach 5 top 5. He's a Mach 5 top 5. The kids wished it'd been Mach 5 and maybe not ours, but I'm just kidding. Come on now, here we go. All right, this one this week is fairly simple. In fact, Chance, I know my man Jeff Ketchum is going to really enjoy this week, because he said this week that everything for him moving forward is not about necessarily the opponent. It's about building towards trying to beat the biggest of dogs, to beat those 2 teams you haven't beat in 4 straight games now, 2 against Ohio State, 2 against Georgia. And I think you're kind of along the same line. So our Mach 5 top 5 this week, 5 things Sark needs to be thinking about to get this team over the hump. Not to make this team look badass against San Jose State, but to get them over the hump. Mach 5 top 5. What do you got for me, Chance?
All right, number 5, and I think this is it could really be number 1, but to me it's number 5. He needs to give Arch more two-way goes. Get Arch outside the pocket and let him do what he does best. We saw him. He made some of his best plays on Saturday were with his legs. He's not a runner. We get that. He's not Michael Vick. He's not Vince Young. We get that. But give him an opportunity to get out, because when you're sitting in the pocket, you're sedentary. You're stationary. You're sitting there trying to figure things out. Let Arch go be Arch until he gets comfortable as a starting quarterback. Let him get outside the pocket. Give him an opportunity to look downfield if the guy's there. If he's not, go make a play with your feet, bud. And then let's move on down the road. I think having him sit in the pocket right now is not the right way to go. Number 4, and this one is massive for me. We got to start faster. Sark's deal has been to jab in the first half, see what they're going to do. We're gonna kind of play. Let's keep it close, and then we're going to make halftime adjustments and come out. Don't tell me you're all gas, no brakes, and come out and play tiddlywinks the first half of every big game we play in. Yeah. Come out with a mentality of we're coming out to beat your ass from the first snap, and we're not just jabbing you. We're coming out Mike Tyson style. We're coming out, and we're going to try to knock you out in the first 18 seconds. That needs to change for Sark to me. Number 3, I don't know where the hell they went on Saturday, but my God, get back to the motions and the shifts. How is Arch supposed to, a new quarterback, motions are the tell to give you an idea of what the defense is doing. That's how you know. That's what they're meant for. Yes, leverage is part of it, but motion tells you what defense they're in. And when you got a new quarterback back there, give him some hints. I've never seen this offense have fewer motions and shifts than they had on Saturday. It was the most vanilla, bland, BS offense I've ever seen Sark run.
Okay.
Number 2, give Arch options on the goal line. We have a quarterback that can move. It goes back to number 5. Give him options on the goal line. We're not Washington. We're just going to throw 3 straight fades to the corner, or we're going to go into shotgun and pitch it to the guy from the 1-yard line. We're going to start at the 9 and stop. Let Arch be Arch. You've got the guy that, Feinbaum said, he's the first guy since Tebow that, could come in and change the game. Okay, well, let him do it. Quit putting him in a box. And number 1, and this is my wish, and it won't happen this year, but it's my wish, hire a co-OC Get somebody that can be in your ear. Not that they're calling the plays that can be like, just the guy that can be like, hey, let's think about this here. Or when you say, hey, we're gonna go push here, we're gonna go tush push here, we're gonna quarterback sneak. He goes, no, let's not do that. Let's do this. Just somebody else, because he needs somebody that's up in the booth, that's watching it, that's away from the emotion of the game, that can see the X's and O's, what's going on, and just be a voice in his head. Just somebody else to have another perspective. I think that's huge. He doesn't have to give up his play calling ability. Just have somebody he trusts that maybe can stop him from doing things like on goal line from the 1 yard line, getting in shotgun and pitching the ball back another 3 yards. So we have to make up 9 just to get back to the damn line of scrimmage.
Interesting. All right, there's your Mock 5 top 5. Two-way go, start faster, get some eye candy in there, options on the goal line, and hiring a co-OC. I've heard fans talking about that last one. I think a lot of fans chance that would make that their number one, and they might take the co out of it. But that's a whole nother discussion. Bo, what would you do with this top 5?
Okay, Chance, you put me in a predicament because I don't disagree with any of your list. I just have one that I think is more important than all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And the one that I would say I'm taking off, because Chad will probably put it back somewhere else, is hire a co-OC, because that would make me have to believe that Sark would listen to someone else. And right now, I don't think he would. So it wouldn't matter who the co-OC was unless you took it away from him in its entirety. Sark's going to do what Sark wants to do. What I do think, and this is something that traces back to the Mac Brown era, it's easy to second guess after the fact, and I understand that. But every single year, we get to week 6, 7, 8, and a star emerges from the youth. And it's like, why didn't he get more reps earlier? Well, with Mac, he didn't play any freshmen early. Well, Sark was kind of going on the same line. No, if you're going to play Grayson Littleton, that's great. And he acquitted himself. Fine. Why was he the only one? When the defensive line is not getting home, how does Justice Terry not see the field? What's he going to do? Fail worse than Murad Watson did? I was a big Hero Canoe guy. What's Justice Terry going to do? Do worse than what they did? Like,
well, and let's not
try the young guys. The receivers weren't getting separation. What's put in Terry, put in French, put in Lockett. Try something, because it was 14-0 through 3 quarters. This dependency, and this relates to the same thing I was talking about. He had more faith in the guys he had faith in, so he kept giving them chances to redeem themselves, almost like Dumb and Dumber. Like when he shows up on the moped, he goes, all the dumb things, you totally redeem yourself. I think Sark's waiting for that moment with each of his special players instead of trying something different.
Well, I think it's interesting too, Bo, to your point. I didn't see Justice Terry out there. But, Lance Jackson was my guy from Texarkana, from Pleasant Grove. Like, I love the kid. If you would have told me at the beginning of the season that he would see playing time before Justice Terry, I'd have told you lost your mind.
And some moves worked absolutely well. Cole Brevard was an absolute dominating nose guard. That guy, we got stopped on 4th and 1 and didn't run into Cole Brevard. If they'd have had Cole Brevard, we'd have got pushed backward. I just don't understand in Sark's world, because he does so many things he risky. He will take chances and go for it on 4th and 5 when you shouldn't. Not kick a field goal when maybe you should. Take points off the board to chase touchdowns. Start Grayson Littleton at nickel. But then you have freaks and they don't see the field because you're afraid of them making a mistake. Well, you know what? And I'm not singling out Brandon Baker, but my point is, for another time in a major game, the right tackle completely whiffs on a block and the quarterback gets hit before the throw goes up. It's happened to us multiple times. Georgia, then Ohio State, now Ohio State part 2. You got to take chances. If you're willing to put these guys out there, you have to put all of them out there. You can't just do it sparingly. And I guess that's my point. I think Sark gets scared to play certain guys and it bites us in the ass. Just like back in Chance's day, and I'm not expecting an answer here, Chance. Everybody in the locker room knew Cedric Benson should have been running the damn football before Oklahoma. point blank, period. It's not a knock on the other running backs in the room. Cedric Benson was absolutely elite and should have been on the field every damn snap he could have been.
Dallas will scare you to death. Big city, a lot of buildings, half and half. Fans, wait till still.
I had classes with Ivan Williams. He was a nice dude.
Stillwater's quiet.
Big,
it's in the name. It's still. Calm down.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do.
That's not a knock on Ivan Williams. It's just, I'm sorry. Like, no.
Ivan Williams knows that's true. Everybody that watched knows that's true. Here's what we're gonna do as the arbiter of truth. I kind of like what Bo did here, because Chance, what I think we need to do with these 5 is let's have the discussion about what's realistic in season. I don't think Sark's going co-OC, or if he's ever gonna do it, it's not now.
No.
It's not right after Ohio State. So we'll push that one to the side. I love the discussion. I really do. But I'm going to make it realistic to him. I don't think he's thinking about that at all. So I'm going to take the 5 and just reorganize a little bit. I'll take Bo's more young guys theory. We'll put that at 3. And I'm putting eye candy up at 1 because of what I think it represents. Because I think, above all else, what he loses in the big game is that. It's cuteness. It's eye candy. It's creativity. I don't know why it goes away, but it does. I mean, I do. It's tightness. He gets nervous. He freaks out in the biggest game, and he stops that stuff. He's going to eye candy the crap out of San Jose State, and he's going to do it again against UTEP, and he's going to do it again against Sam, and y'all are going to freak out. Rightly so. It's going to be, wait a second. Why is all of the – and then they're going to go to Gainesville, and it's going to get vanilla again. And Chance is going to start yanking hairs out of this part of his head and this part of his head, and he's going to lose his mind.
Well, here's the question, though, Chad. You heard him today. He said he thinks he gets too cute in the big games.
Right.
And I went,
I know.
I don't get that.
Yeah.
Because I think it's the opposite.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. By the way, thanks to Integro Construction Services, 987-1273. Check out that Go Nanotech technology, the roof coating that Bo tells you about. Thanks to them for being a great partner. And Chance,
do not anybody. Let's be honest. I still think Texas wins 10 games. I think this team is incredibly talented. This is not a sky is falling.
But Chance, you just said the scariest part. I have been saying for years, used to say the same thing about Greg Davis. It's not that he's too cute. It's that he's not cute enough in the biggest moments. The scariest part is Sark just said it. He just said it, and I think he's wrong. To your point, he was asked about the running game, and he said he was very pleased with the running game, but then he talked about big games in the past and said, we were too cute against those teams in the past. And I was thinking, no, you weren't. You weren't cute.
Hold on, though, Chad. Hold on. Go back. Not in the present. Don't get recency bias. Get to what he was talking about. Go back a couple years when we're playing Oklahoma and he's running wide receiver screens on 4th and 1. We couldn't get it across the goal line, and he didn't run it 4 times at 4th and 1. Like, it was all screens and dump off. Like,
right.
I misspoke when I was saying that. On 4 plays from inside the 5 against Oklahoma, we didn't run the damn ball. Right. Then he was too cute. He aired 2 sides. He went too far over.
Nope. Because that wide receiver screen, Bo, some fans convinced themselves that's cuteness. Just like they tried to convince themselves that when Greg Davis ran that stinking bubble screen, it was a cute play. No, it wasn't. That was conservative. That was boring. That was predictable. That was not cute enough.
Do you remember the play that we ran? Do you remember the play we ran to Isaiah Bond where he motions across, we do play action, he comes back around, and it's a reverse, and he's going for 50 yards. Do you remember that play?
That was fantastic. Yes. Fantastic.
That's, to me, that's what I envision signature Sark. That's what I see when I
that play was used by 3 NFL teams in the next 2 weeks after that because that was a new way of doing it.
Yeah, they stole it.
Hold on.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. We are 1-5 against Alabama, Georgia, and Ohio State in the last 4 years. The only one win came against Alabama in Alabama. And what do? We opened up that playbook. We threw the ball around. There were motions everywhere. That's the only game that he has really played, because he went on the road to Alabama and thought, we got nothing to lose here. And he went and he played his actual game, and we won. And I would argue the reason we have 5 losses is because in those 5 losses, he went into conservatism and just buttoned up and tried not to lose as opposed to going and winning.
Well, and with the defense that he has, that doesn't need to be the mentality this year. Like,
I disagree, but okay.
The mentality is he needs to be a adventurous pirate on offense because the defense gives him the culpability. Like, he can screw up and they'll hold. He can screw up and it's a field goal.
Yes, so
they give only 14 points to Ohio State.
Right. Be gutsy.
Sark should be trying to score 35 points every single game until he gets to 35. Don't hit off the gas.
And continue that aggression into the other thing that's on my mind this week, fellas, is I know he's not kicking the field goal when I want him to ever. He's not. But to your point, Chance, he damn well better start thinking about the punt in the middle of the field. He better do it. He called Bo Meester a weapon today. I'd agree. So would Chance. So would Bo. So would everybody with eyeballs that watched that game. But gentlemen, if we see him in the middle of the field on 4th and 3, that he keeps running plays in a big game and then complains later that his defense didn't make enough plays, give him more chances. Pin them down there. I get that you're going to go for it on 4th. And I'm not even talking about the one from the 1-yard line. Yeah. You're not going to kick the field goal because it's progressive and blah, blah, blah. And then your defense will have them pinned when you fail. I get that one. Fine. But start punting. Let that dude throw lawn darts. He pinned him inside the 10, 3 times, including one that remind me of another Australian punter that we all know. So that needs to be to me, that's a huge tweak for him. Just start thinking about that. And as in the aggression plus don't be afraid to punt could help this guy a ton right now.
The defense is a weapon that can't, it wasn't this game. And I read Catch's articles this week and all the other articles about no turnovers. Well, fine. I have a feeling this team will start turning people over. It just didn't happen that game. You know what? Ohio State only had a couple turnovers themselves, and we were trying to give the ball away half the damn time.
Right.
So just go let it rip. It's like, I hate to bring the analogy in, but I think it actually makes sense. It's like in golf when a guy can't win on the PGA Tour, like Tommy Fleetwood went through with 7 top 2s, but no win because they get in that moment and they find ways to screw it up. They get in their own head. They try to zig when they know they should zag, but they're like, we got to do it different because they're waiting for it. No. And once you finally win one, guess what? Then you start winning more of them. Like Tommy Fleetwood will probably be a star next year on the PGA Tour because now he's not thinking about getting that first win. Now it's not, can I do this? Once you get one, they start to snowball. Once Sark I really thought it was going to be Alabama, but then Georgia just was a bigger animal and it wasn't the same thing. Mm-hmm. But he's got to win one. And that's on him. And it ain't Florida and it ain't Oklahoma. And we can make it all out to be... If we can't beat Florida, then the conversation is null and void. Sorry. That's just the truth. We're not a national championship contender if we can't beat Florida, who will have 3 or 4 losses before the end of the year. They're not that good. Yes, Lagway's really good, but that Florida team that we played last year here and beat by 30+ didn't change personnel that much. Lagway isn't that much of a difference. So it isn't beating Florida. It isn't beating Oklahoma. It's Georgia. And after that, it's whatever game is next. But it is going to – you have to win those.
Yeah, it's Georgia and Ohio State. I mean, now it's 0 for 4, guys. Last week we said it's 0 for 3. Now it's 0 for 4. It's the Dogs and the Buckeyes. We all know. One's got a back-to-back, and then one won it last year with a talented hunk of football. We all saw it. That's the mark.
Can I ask a question, though? Can I get Bo to retract his pick for who's winning the SEC this year?
Bo, would you like to reassess?
Hold on.
Because I feel like I said, I'm not buying this Alabama stuff. I don't see it. You remember that?
I'm channeling my inner Sark, and I'm going to believe in myself. I'm going to believe in me as the player, I'm doubling down.
Wow.
Alabama goes undefeated in the SEC.
There you go. All right. Hey, he's gonna.
How about
If you believe
Castellanos?
that- If you believe that, I got some oceanfront property in North Dakota that's really awesome.
Hey, how about Castellanos?
That's awesome stuff. Great scoreboard moment.
We talked about it on the show on Thursday. How he said Saban's not here to save you.
Yeah.
And then he went and backed it up.
Backed it up, multiple scores. That guy did Tallahassee. Man, I tell you what, fellas, I felt young this weekend because it felt like the 90s again with Florida State and Miami getting big wins. I'm like, whoa, is Bobby Bowden showing up? What's happening?
4, including Alabama, because in some fringes they were being talked about in that same way. 4 significant national title contenders all lost games this weekend. Which one do you like? Which one, though, isn't as bad? To me, Texas losing by a touchdown at Ohio State is a little different than Clemson losing to LSU. It's a little different animal. It's not a bad loss, but it's Notre Dame lost to Miami. Yes, it was in Miami, but does anybody really think Miami is the equivalent of Ohio State? No, they're not. Alabama can't say Alabama. That's terrible.
That was bad.
Literally just lost to the guy who may get hired to replace the guy they're going to fire when they get rid of Kalen DeBoer, who I really thought was going to do well. I'm stubborn and I'm sticking with my Alabama in the SEC title game, but that's only because I'm too stubborn to change it.
I have a prediction. Caleb DeBoer is in the NFL next season, regardless of how this year plays out.
Interesting. You think somebody's grabbing him as an OC?
I think
his agent's already putting it out there trying to find where the opportunities is. Yeah. You could tell today in his interview, he didn't want to be there. He doesn't like it. He's
okay.
Just feather in the cap. I'm just telling you.
No, I'm not arguing. What my only observation would be, if I am correct and he does make the SEC title game, he'll be in Alabama next year because they'll like him again. Because he'll be in the playoffs. That means he's only.
Hey, you know why that won't happen, Bo?
Because it ain't happening.
It ain't happening. Number one, because that LSU defense, when LSU can actually play defense, which I don't know what Blake Baker did this offseason, that was a different defense. They made Cade Klubnik look like Ned in the first reader. Like, I haven't seen him look that bad since his sophomore year.
It was bad.
Yeah, that's an interesting game. Those
that's one of those where, like, Cade Klubnik for Heisman, like, short of him just dominating every game beyond belief, that's the clip they play of that game as to why someone else should win the Heisman, because that was the most un-Heisman-worthy performance in a big game to start a season that I've ever seen.
And by the way, do you know who had a worse stat line than Arch Manning that isn't getting the heat for it but should? Mr. Nico, I'm going to turn the ball over, whatever his name is.
No, I think everybody kind of gave up on Nico when they left school for money.
He had a bad one. There was a lot of bad quarterback performances in week one.
It was a bad week.
There was not a lot of great when it came to quarterbacks.
No.
A lot of it just came down to a couple guys having defenses and making a couple plays.
Who the golden boy is right now after last night's performance, Carson Beck. If you watched that game start to finish, his first 2 touchdown passes, he might as well have closed his eyes and kicked it. Like, he was just throwing up for grabs.
I'm going to tell you what, boys, that catch that Daniels made, the kid that was at LSU and now is there, I don't know that I've ever seen a catch that good that was going to be a pick but turned into a touchdown. Like, everything that could have happened right there at the goal line, that Notre Dame guy is just getting ready to pick it off. Yeah. And he makes like an Odell Beckham style catch, and he happens to do it falling into the end zone.
Well, and there's a chance.
Crazy play.
There's a thing about this. There's a chance that catch ends up being the catch of the season, and it happened in week 1.
Absolutely. Yeah. It was unbelievable.
That was so much better than the Beckham catch, because while the guy went for the pick and missed and he made the catch, he could have just as easily gotten lit up. Where his body was out on the field, he's leaping knowing that he may get a helmet square in his back. Whereas when Beckham made his, if he dropped it, no big deal. He was just, it was him and himself. There was nobody that could hurt him. Okay. When that guy went up like that, he was extended and he could have been drilled from any angle and he knew it.
First off, Bo, Please stop saying it doesn't matter just because he was playing the Cowboys. I know that's what you're saying about the Odell Beckham catch. How dare you? How dare you?
It was uncut. It wasn't. The coverage didn't. He wasn't going to get hit.
Second of all, he's got to deal with the sideline and the pylon and try to figure out how to land in the end zone. And always remember, he caught it with 3 fingers. Like, never forget the tri-claw element of the OBJ catch. He caught it with only 3 of the fingers on his right hand.
That's just because he used to play catch games with Pierre Paul, and he only had 3 fingers. So, like, you had to train with 3 fingers so the 2 of them could compete.
That's still one of the damnedest things I've ever seen. All right, Bo, let's thank the last of our great partners tonight. We'll reset Poncho here in a sec, but let's tell them about Battalion Fire Protection and what they can do for them.
Battalion, don't wait for an emergency to find out your fire extinguisher doesn't work or isn't there, or who knows. Do you know where your fire extinguisher is right now? At your home, at your business? Like, if a fire broke out, would you be prepared for it? Think about it. You know the answer. Call Battalion 755-6569. Veteran owned. Central Texas proud. Full service. Fire protection, sprinklers, alarms, extinguishers, inspections, repairs. They protect businesses from Waco all the way down to San Antonio, Austin, Georgetown, Cedar Park, Liberty Hill. Battalion Fire Protection. Your life safety is their mission. 755-6569. That's Battalion Fire Protection.
Yes, indeed. Shout out to them, all of our great partners. Thank you guys for jumping in. Debuting Outsiders 10 a.m. on a Tuesday. If you're watching us on Tuesday morning, we appreciate you. Or whenever you're checking us out, thank you for liking, subscribing, getting your notifications, getting those subscriber numbers up as high as they have been. We do appreciate you. Also, we thank everybody for helping out here, including Specs. Specs brings you, of course, the Specs chat on all the live shows, and we just like to see Lisa and the crew. Here they are.
Shop Specs! 60 years in the Lone Star State, a one-stop shop so you're never late. Price is so low that you want to know which way to Specs. Come on, let's go. Specs, fine spirits and finer foods. World-class service, that's all about you. Shop Specs! It's how we do. A huge selection since 62. Shop Specs! Low priced, amazing. Here's to you. Cheers to savings.
All right. I'm going to ask a slightly insensitive question to Chance Mock. I'm not doing this because I'm not doing it out of some weird emotion, but Chance, let me grown up question, because it's just the guy I think of. You have talked a little bit about this. I've heard plenty of stories through the years about when Greg Davis wasn't at his best, or the things Greg Davis wasn't the best at in big moments and all that kind of stuff. Have you heard anything about Sark as a play caller in the moment? Like, does he freak out a little bit? Does he tighten up? Because now we're watching this pattern form where it just feels different in the biggest games. Have you heard anything like that? Because I hate to do it, but in the biggest moments, that's who I end up thinking of. I end up thinking about Greg Davis and the brilliant mind that just gets kind of lost in some of those big moments.
So I'm going to be careful how I answer this, Chad, because I have a tremendous amount of respect and love for Greg Davis, the man, the coach, all of it, the husband, the father. He's an incredible human being. But I used to say Greg Davis forgets more about offensive football every day than I'll know in my entire life. Incredible offensive mind. But when it came to big games, he would talk himself into a circle, and he would miss the obvious call because he was so far ahead. He's going, well, they're thinking I'm going to do this, but if I do this, and then he ends up at the wrong play,
outguessing himself. Okay.
Right. And I feel like I think it's a fair comparison. I'll just leave it at that, and that's the nicest way I can say it, because I think it's true. I think we see Sark loosen up against, the teams that he should go out and beat, the Mississippi States or Florida without Lagway at home, and UTEP, and we're going to see this weekend. Don't be shocked if we score 62 points this weekend.
Right.
Don't be.
Yeah, exactly. I think you're right. And I'll give you guys a play that you were talking about the red zone stuff, and it is wild to watch, again, how everything just stays in the center of the field. There's no real options on the outside. But you guys referenced one. Bo referenced the play in the Notre Dame game with Carr. I watched one in the A&M game where they just ran a quick little option thing with Marcel Reed to the outside, and either he was going to run in or he was going to throw it to a tight end. There's one of those plays. I think it was the 7-0 goal line stand moment. I think it's either the second or third down play. Arch hands the ball to Baxter, I believe it is. But if he pulls it, gentlemen, oh my God. All he had to do was pull the ball and head left, and there's one guy out there. And then it's him and Wingo. And then it becomes real simple. Then it's just, you come get me, I'm going to throw it to Ryan Wingo, touchdown. Mm-hmm. If you go after Ryan Wingo, I'm going to run, and I'm getting the touchdown. Either way, 6 points will go up. As I rewatched the play, I just thought, okay, right there. There's a chance to be aggressive. There's a chance to be interesting. Multiple options like y'all are talking about. Sark's just got to find those moments and push through whatever that nervousness is for those things, and push through what you're talking about, Bo, that overbelief in his guys. Like, I don't know, believe it on a more interesting play. I believe in him too, but make it a more interesting play.
Sark is an incredible recruiter, and he's built a program, and he's built something that we can all be proud of. And there are moments where he is an offensive savant. But the problem is, to me, with Sark, is when the moment's at its biggest, he goes to his smallest. Now, eventually he will break through that wall. He's not the first coach to lose a couple times over. At this point, Bobby Bowden is an exalted figure. He wasn't always.
Yeah.
Phil Jackson was not always the coaching legend that he was. And Bill Belichick got fired not once but twice before he became the coach of the Patriots, and now he's with Jordan. And like, Sark is figuring it out. We just hope that he figures it out sooner rather than later. And while we all think it's the same tendencies, he does. You may say the wide receiver screen's conservative, but what he hasn't done yet at the goal line level or the red zone level is just coach football. Just let his players play football. Turnovers be damned, screw-ups be damned, go do what you do when we're having fun. Because that's when Texas is at its most exciting, and that's when Texas is at its scariest, when they're just having fun.
But, Bo, you hinted at it earlier, and I don't want to rehash things, but you hinted at it earlier. He's got a defense this year. Why not be balls to the wall? You've got the safety blanket that is your defense. So when you get inside the red zone, let's have some fun. Don't be conservative.
Well, use an example.
Yeah, chunk it. Especially when you know you're going 4 times.
Yeah.
He's never going to kick the field goal. Get 4 badass crazy plays. Run them all.
Well, to use an example of a coach that used to be like Sark, Andy Reid, when he was coming up with the Packers and the Niners and then got his first gig with Philly and made the Super Bowl, he wasn't doing the things that he did in Kansas City. He didn't have the balls to bench conservative, good but not great Alex Smith for young Patrick Mahomes. He's got them running 2-point conversion plays where dudes are doing pirouettes in the backfield and guys just too random. Like, they made a tornado and shot somebody out of it. Because Andy Reid, once he got that first one, he's like, all right, let's go. Like, let's go until, the wheels fall off. And once you get the first one, then you can do those things. I wish Sark would do it now. He has it in him. We've seen it.
Yeah, though there's no doubt. All right, let's remind you, it's the Outsiders presented by Poncho. We hope, Longhorn fans, you might have a shot at this thing. It's the Natty Back Guarantee. If your team wins the Natty, once you buy the shirt, then you get the full refund. Look for the Natty Back football icon. Purchase a college logo shirt before October 1st. Here are the other 9 teams that are up for this one. One option for each of those. Longhorns, as you saw, have 3 from LSU all the way down to Texas Tech. You can pick your favorite team, get that shirt, and you'll get the refund if they win the Natty. And I'll put this one back up. Check out the top, ponchooutdoors.com/outsiders for $10 off your first order. Thanks to Poncho for doing that for us. They are great shirts. I'm rocking a Poncho tonight. I think Bo's got one of the hoodies on tonight, if I'm not mistaken.
The new one.
What is that?
Sunset. Like our
sunset.
national championship hopes at the moment, but we'll hope they get back.
That's what it's called. Also, shout out to Matthew McConaughey, who looked damn good in a poncho shirt on game day in Columbus. Everybody knows. Everybody knows about the poncho. The word is spreading. Y'all go get yours. Anything else, Bo, before we get out of here?
A little bit of housekeeping. Hey, Chance,
Yes.
just like all the kids have to take their yearbook photos and school athletic photos, I need your orange poncho photo because Poncho wants to display you on their website.
Okay. Yeah. Come on now. Let's do it. I'm going to show that picture a lot, Chance.
Colt McCoy, Sam Ellinger, and Chance.
What was the girl in Napoleon Dynamite?
Sam who?
Remember Napoleon Dynamite when she's taking the pictures?
It's going to be you right there. Yeah. Give me feeling, Chance. Give me feeling. Give me that. Give us some feeling. That's going to be awesome. All right. Shout out to Poncho and all of our great partners. Thank you guys for checking it out. Like, subscribe, get your notifications. It's San Jose State this week, so it's just one Outsiders. Next week, we'll debut again Tuesday at 10 a.m. Thank you all for your support. Texas and San Jose State. It's another early kick. It's a DKR, though. Get out there and enjoy it. 11 a.m. kick. It's going to be a lot of fun. Let's see if Texas can bounce back from the Ohio State game. Y'all take care. Until next time, we are the Outsiders, and unlike the red zone version of Sark, we are legitimately worth a shit. See ya.